All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. We are here today, and it's a Monday. I'm just gonna say it's just a Monday, but we are blessed to have Miss Amy Pleasant here with us today. I can't forget. Did you reach out to me? I reached out to you, or I can't even remember.
I reached out to you. I attended a health fair in San Antonio, and
That's
you were
right.
there.
That's right.
Yes.
Yep. Now I remember. We got the health fair coming up again.
Wonderful.
So
Can't have too many of those here in San Antonio.
yeah. So we are with this young lady right here. Has a lot to offer for everybody out there. So if you tuned in, get a piece of paper and a pen and write down some things because what you're going to hear is what you're going to need to hear today. I'm just letting you know. All right. Before we get started, introduce yourself and tell our listeners about your background.
All right. Well, thank you very much for this opportunity to be able to share what I have to offer and who I am and what I can help the community with. My name is Amy Pleasant, and I am a native New Yorker. I was born in New York City. Down here in Texas, there was a saying, there was a um, what you call the commercial that say, get a rope, right? That old pace commercial, get a rope,
Yes.
get a rope. That's all I heard when I came here in 96. I did join the military, the Army, number one. Oh, I'm an Army veteran. And in fact, I'm from a family of Army veterans, actually. I had two aunts that were in the military as well and that joined the Army um, and contributed and raised their hands to pledge to defend and protect our country. So I migrated here to San Antonio. I had two aunts that moved down here first and said, come visit. And I did. And ended up loving San Antonio and wanted to change from New York City. If anybody could believe that. At 26-year-old, I came to San Antonio and stayed here since. I've been here ever since. So I got out the military, continued my nursing, became an RN at UT Health Science School of Nursing here in San Antonio, Texas, and spent over approximately about 20 years in the healthcare industry here in San Antonio in various capacities and various facilities, working as a nurse and contributing to the health of our community from cradle to the grave.
Oh,
Um, yes, had a lot of great experiences.
okay.
And yeah.
That's interesting because you answered my next two questions without even know what the questions were, and one was about your two aunties that with your decision and everything. So you covered that pretty good. We're doing good. So let me ask you something. What do you remember most about your military training and service?
Okay. Well, I went into the military at a later age than a lot of people go into the military. Used people go into the military around in their 18, 17, 18. Some of them go to early entry and all that and go to the military. I actually went into the military when I was 26. And I went to reserves first, and that with the intention of recruiter promising, right, the military recruiting and having that benefit of being able to pay for school. I was in college, taking classes in college, and anybody lives in New York City and as a single person in New York City that just come from a wealthy background know that you're bootstrapping everything living in New York City. You're basically paying for the real estate. You're paying for real estate in New York City. So it was the opportunity to join the military and as reserves to get the college tuition to continue in school. So and also discipline. The military is known for discipline, whether you know whatever branch you serve, is known for the skills that you're taught while being there. So I definitely learned a lot about resilience, discipline, um,
Yes.
uh, selfless service, right? Others over self, for sure, and learning respect for authority,
Oh, I like
which
that
is
part.
yeah, that's a big thing here in America because a lot of people got children grow up entitled, right? So learning respect for authority, learning there's a chain of command, learning there's somebody over, always somebody over somebody over somebody, and definitely respecting that authority. So I appreciate those disciplines and those skills that I was taught in the military, and also the skill of accomplishing the mission. You finish what you start. Get there's resources. You make it happen,
Okay.
and you can
So,
do that and help other people, and with your skills, you can do that.
right. So, how did working at Brooke Army Medical Center shape your nursing career?
Well, interesting. When I went, my story is I went in as a LBN, it's LPN in the East Coast from New York. So I went in as reserves as a LPN, and then when I got here, I decided I wanted to go active, right, from reserves. So my aunt that was did many years active and in reserve, she actually is a Desert Storm veteran. She helped me transfer from reserves to active. And at that point, I was at Fort Sam and went to Amen Center School, and they basically the training. They said, "Oh, we're overspent." It's 1996 now. We're overspent with nurses. They're not saying that now. We're overspent with nurses. And get another MOS, get another training. So I went took 91 kilo, which is lab tech training. So at Fort Sam, I actually in Banty, I was actually a lab tech while I was in the military. So I did not have get nursing experience in the military. But I was still a nurse, but I did the training in lab tech, which is good. I appreciate that because I learned the skill of phlebotomy. I learned, the different tests that they, on all body, yeah, all the body specimens, blood, urine, feces, all of that, sputum. We learned as lab tech how to test all that and detect bacteria and diseases and things like that in the blood. So that was a great skill that I learned 'cause when I got out of the military. I was able to use that as a nurse to be able to take blood and just understand the concepts of the different tests that was ordered by the physicians.
So now, after more than 23 years in nursing, what has been the most
Mhm.
rewarding part of serving others?
Wow. The most important, most rewarding part of serving others is seeing them, seeing them live out life in dignity and also taking agency for their lives. Because as nurses, we teach people to be their advocate, to be their own advocate. We teach people to speak up for themselves. We teach people that you know your body better than anyone else, even the doctors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that as human beings, as doctors and nurses, we it's healthcare is changing in which the patient is more the patient or the client is more centered, it's client centered, right? So it's not just about the doctor giving all the orders and knowing all the answers, and the nurse is carrying out whatever the doctors say. Now it's more, and it's indicative of the reflection of the society now in which the client or the people are very intelligent. Like they have the right to research, they have the right to say, I want a second opinion, they have the right to say, this is what's going on in my body, you're not listening, I'm going to go somewhere else where I'm listening,
Yeah.
or doctor, listen to what I'm saying because this is what's been happening to me. Can you help me, find a specialist, whatever it takes. So rewarding part is helping people to be able to speak for themselves, to speak up for themselves, to have courage to say, this is what I need. And I'm going to continue to search while search start finding answers. And just be able to see people have developed a quality of life because with healthcare, we're not God. So we do our best as healthcare practitioners to help people to live life to the full, right? And many times really we want to teach preventative care, catch it, what they say, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So, and to prevent getting diabetes, to prevent getting all these things, what can you do now, right? To change your habits to become habits of health so that you won't end up with diseases. So, but then if you end up with the disease, then how can you live the best life, right? What can you do to elongate your life and live with dignity?
Before we get onto your LLC, I want to make a comment or ask you another question. What you just said, when you say that you know your own body, and when you find out a doctor's not listening to you, I hope I word this just right. A human body is not a cookie cutting factory where one fit all. Each
Right.
person is different, and some doctors think will work for one will work for the other, and it don't. And then when that
Mm-hmm.
patient get let 'em- I'm getting ready to leave, the doctor get upset because I am part of that. My son, at a younger age, had asthma. It was real bad. And I remember the doctor saying to him, I said, he's doing it. She looked at me and told me, you don't know what an asthma attack is. Okay, I was a
Mm-hmm.
single parent for years. Definitely, I know what it is. I said, I looked at it straight and I said, your services is no longer needed. So I went
Mm-hmm.
to another doctor, went cold turkey for a little bit to find out what worked. He winged them off of 7 different types of medication down to two
Mm-hmm.
because I went on and said, no, that answer is not good enough for me. So
Absolutely.
just to ask you a question, when is enough that people should go ahead and get a second opinion? Should it be automatic or should you wait and see what happens? I know that's a loaded question, but what should people recognize?
I believe that when it comes to healthcare, like you said, everybody's body is different. It's not cookie cutter. Okay, so with healthcare, it really is a big hypothesis statement. Okay, doctors don't know everything. That's why they run tests. That's why they try different medications. Because at first, of course they're gonna make sure that they're not giving you anything that you're allergic to. That's why when you go to the doctor's offices and a new patient, they ask 20 questions. They should be asking you 20 questions if they're doing the assessment correctly, so they can know your background, so they can learn you, um, and learn how they can best serve you. So with medications, treatment is really is a hypothesis. If you try one thing and we'll see if it works. That's why many times they do a follow up, like eat medications, and maybe in 2 weeks to 3 weeks to 4 weeks come back and let's gauge this. Let's do another blood test. So that's where with patients you have to give it some time. All medications have to give time. Um,
Right.
but you're if you're going to the same doctor and he's prescribing the same thing and it's not working and you're telling him it's not working, and then he doesn't refer you out somewhere, I mean, because this the specialty, the industry is about specialty now. There's people who specialize in certain things. Every
Right.
doctor doesn't know everything. So they should have a Rolodex, right? A network of people that they can, refer you to in case
Right.
what they're doing, they can't find a problem. So if you have a doctor that's not doing that, that's gatekeeping you, and just like you're not getting any better, that's when you got to speak up for yourself and say, hey, I'm can't, do you have any other people you can refer me out to, or I will look into my insurance and find out what specialty I can refer out to because I go to because this is not working. And
Yeah.
also if you have a doctor or practitioner that's not a people person, they're not listening to you, they're not taking their time, even though we know, with business, as you go into doctor's office and they tell you one problem, because they're on a schedule. But if you constantly going back to them and they're not, you don't feel in your gut that they're really caring and connecting with you, then you have the right to move on to someone who you can feel, right? We're human beings. We're human beings. I believe we're spiritual beings having a human experience. So we can detect, we can feel when someone really cares.
Yeah.
Someone's in it because they care, or this is in it for the money.
Mm,
So.
that part. The money. That one. Okay, so now, what inspired you to establish A Pleasant Space LLC?
All right. Well, I definitely want to give honor to my mother, Amelia Pleasant. Um, my late mom, she passed away in 2017. And she is from Panama. She was born in Panama. She was the oldest of four girls and a strong woman, right? And she was a CNA, among other things. She was jack of all trades. She was a cosmetologist. She did a lot of things. She was very hands-on woman. But she loved taking care of people and she loved taking care of the elderly. in particular. So she always wanted to operate a personal care home, but she was not able to do that successfully prior to her passing away. So I decided after, and she always wanted it to be have family business. I have two aunts that are nurses, are RNs. One is passed away. Now she was a captain, and she was one of my aunts. She was a captain in the military, in the army, and she had passed away. And I have my other aunt that's retired that lives here in San Antonio. So healthcare is a family business. Nursing is a family business, family calling, I should say. And she always wanted it to be a family-run business. Unfortunately, that didn't turn out that way. So in honor of my mom, I went ahead and established A Pleasant Space LLC in her honor.
Okay. What services does A Pleasant Space provide for seniors and disabled veterans?
Well, the Pleasant Space it provides, I would say it provides peace of mind to families. Because A Pleasant Space is a residential option for seniors and disabled veterans. And being a caregiver, my mom was a caregiver, being the oldest of her sisters, that by rank alone, by birth alone, she became a caregiver, right? Because she took care of her sisters. And then she continued in the healthcare line. My grandmother was, I believe, worked in a on base in Panama. And they again, Panamanians, they were born in Panama. She worked in base in Panama in the hospital. So she carried that on. And I'm the oldest daughter as well, and a caregiver. So, and I'm a caregiver of my dad now. I'll pass on the baton for my mom to take care of my dad, and he's 85 years old, Alzheimer's. So I'm a caregiver. So I inherited, right, that blessing in 2017. But with that blessing came a huge responsibility because in 2017, I was also raising my two boys who are high functioning autistic with my ex, my ex. So I was automatically pushed into this, what they call a sandwich generation, in which you're still raising your children, and you're taking care of your elderly parents, right? So with that comes a lot of stress. It's a privilege, but with that comes a lot of stress, and especially if you're working as well. So the Pleasant Space I provide peace of mind. I provide safety. I provide respite for the families who are these adult children who are taking care of their loved ones, and for seniors who want a place to live, they want a place to live that's not uh, high end as far as with the amount of money that they have to spend, because they have options, right? They have options. They have assisted living facilities, and a lot of them are, they have all the bells and the whistles in the movies and theaters and the bars, and they have the happy hour. Seniors do it up here in San Antonio. In San Antonio, this is the place where seniors come to retire, and veterans come to retire. So I make fun. I said seniors run San Antonio, because they're the ones with the wealth transfer. They're the ones with the baby boomers are the ones with the money, and they really do it up here in San Antonio. So they have options, right? And but you have a lot of seniors who don't want all the bells and whistles, who just want to live quietly, want have some companionship, right? But they don't need all the, if some of them, if they want to go to the movies, they'll go out to the movies. They go out to the restaurant and anything like that. But just something simple, right? So the Pleasant Space is a place where they can reside and live, with one or two other seniors or disabled veteran, and they have a shared place, and they're able to communicate and able to have companionship. But live in a place in which they don't have to worry about, you know, paying doing the lawn, doing the
Right.
lawn work and the yard work, and worried about, the bills and all that, and a mortgage and all that, of course, with their fee. as the business owner, I handle all of that. I help assist with groceries, grocery shopping. I help assist with their doctor's appointments. I usually go along with them with the doctor's appointments because, as a nurse, I know I advocate for my clients. I know what the questions to ask. I know how to communicate with the healthcare professionals and communicate things that maybe the client might not be communicating to them.
Yes.
If you take care of a mom, or a dad, right? Sometimes with the elderly, they don't say everything that needs to be said to their practitioner.
The reason why I'm laughing and shaking my head is when they do go to the doctor, they don't say everything what the problem is. It's like, I'm not going to say this, but if somebody there to see what they're like, you're going, well, they have this, and this. And then they look at you and say, I wasn't going to say all that. Well, I'm saying it for you. It's just, I think when they get up there in age and the way they were brought up, they're so used to privacy that they don't want
Yeah.
to tell everybody everything.
Yeah.
And especially with men, it's the hardest thing for them to say. Now, a woman, they tell you everything that's going on. A man will sit back and say, I got my pride. I'm not saying nothing. I can take care of it myself, which they
Right,
can't.
right, right. Yeah, the ego. Yeah.
Yes, there you go.
I know about that real well. I had an ex and two boys, so
Yes. Oh, you be dealing with that for life.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
You know, um, with you being out there, what are some of the challenges you face as a veteran and a black business owner?
Mm, okay. So as a veteran, San Antonio is very veteran friendly. It's very veteran friendly city, which I'm grateful for. Right? It's wonderful. With that being said, though, there's still also a lot of resources that you don't know about. You don't know what you don't know, right? So that's why I get out and network a lot. I network a lot, and I'm one of those personal care homeowners. I don't see a lot of personal care homeowners out there networking, and that's what I've noticed even before I got into this business. When I used to work for the VA, I used to work as a nurse, and I went to the personal care homes to take care of clients, and not a lot of them do that or send representatives out, which I think is very unfortunate because people need to know who you are. People need to be out there, right? And then also to know the resources. There's a lot of resources in San Antonio. You have to. One thing about San Antonio I've learned is different from New York. New York is very out. Everything's out and out. San Antonio, it's groups, it's people, it's groups, it's communities. You have to get in there, right, and talk with people, and find out, and even collaborate. Just say, hey, I'm here. This is what I do for the community. This is who I serve, and then they in turn tell you as well. Hey, you need services for your business, and I'm available, and this and that. A lot of organizations, like the San Antonio Coalition. And then there's an acronym. There's a lot of resources for elderlies out there. There's ACOG. There's a lot of resources out there for veterans and seniors. But you have to get yourself out there and find out and know the people who are representative, who are in charge, who are also networking to just collaborate and get to know each other's names and see what we can do to help collaborate to help the clients that we serve.
What I ran across when you said that, I'm from Chicago area, everything's out there for you. You just mentioned New York, everything's out there for you. And I talked to several people that's not from San Antonio, not from Texas, and they use this key word out there. They always tell me, those gatekeepers don't let nobody know anything. And it seemed to let you know when the crisis has passed, when you wanted it, when the crisis was going on. So that is hard to find out all the resources. So that is one of the main things out here in San Antonio is finding the resources. Who door do you knock on? You got to find somebody that know a little bit of everybody. And with it being so like closed knit, like say San Antonio is a big city, but it's got the small town mentality. And
Right.
that's what attracts people here because of the small townness of they love it. But they got to understand we're the seventh largest city in the country. We need to have the resources open up to everybody.
Right. Right. And we have, Bridging the Gap and other different organizations that are trying to do that. Bridging the Gap does that in particular because it's called Bridging the Gap because they want to bridge, they want many organizations come together once a month and they hold a meeting to collaborate, to share. This is what I'm doing. This is what, this resources. Let's get each other's business card and let's, follow up. Let's meet at each other's businesses. United Way and different things like that has hosted Bridging the Gap.
Right.
So we can get together, to be able to bring it out to the people and we as client, as business owners can share with our clients and share with other people. I have even with our community, our network. In Bridging the Gap, there's people that take care of. This coming up soon is the back to school events, right? So I have friends who have children. I have friends who that the children go back to school. Hey, I can let them know this is what's going on. You could bring yourself, your family out here, and you'll be able to get free resources for your children. So there's
Right.
different things like that.
And I'm doing one this Saturday, a matter of fact, a back to school drive at
Oh,
Caliente Motorcycle Club off 410. So
oh,
this is
okay.
this is my third year going out there doing this. They call me and say, "Ron, are you busy?" I said, "No, I'm not." They put the date in, but there's a lot of back to school things that's going on. Matter of fact, one just held one last Saturday called Triple L. They look for backpacks and all that stuff. So this is it's so sad about it. School gonna start another 2 weeks. Just seem like them kids just got out of school. And they back there again. They say, "Wow, where did the time go?"
Yes,
But I
exactly.
feel you on that about things going on because me myself personally, I try to find out what's going on and try to be there so I could collect the information about the resources and share it on the radio to everybody. What's going on, what date and time. I think and the next time they have one, what was that you said they collaborate together? What was that called?
Bridging the Gap.
Bridging. I want to attend one of those meetings to
Okay.
see
I
what's
will.
going on, so we could help get the word out. Because that's the
Yeah.
problem right here is getting the word out in a
Right.
timely manner, not on Monday morning when it happens Saturday.
Right.
We need to let everybody know a month ahead of time. This is what's going on. So, which lead
Right.
me to this question, young lady.
Hmm.
What are some of the greatest needs facing seniors and disabled veterans in San Antonio?
Hmm. Um, that's loaded. It's a lot. That's a lot of need. Depending on your economic status, right? Because
Hmm.
this San Antonio is also this, I think, one of the highest poverty rates here in San Antonio too. Um, so that's ACOG is overloaded, because unfortunately they're trying to help as many people as they can, and they can't help everyone all the time. I think one of the greatest needs for seniors here, disabled veterans, is community. There's a lot of isolation going on with the seniors and disabled veterans, period. But once they retire or if they become disabled, it's even more isolating. And many times, unfortunately, it's their mentality coming from the military. Like you mentioned, with guys and their egos, and I don't want to say anything to the doctors. I'm good, whatever. And it's like, no, you're not good, right? So with veterans, we have that. We've been trained and ingrained to have that beautiful resilience and tenacity, and we get the job done, and we're gonna make it happen. And then when we leave the military, we sometimes take on that because it's a good side and a bad side to that, in which I'm good all by myself. As they say, the army of one. But there's no such thing in life, right? You need people. You need the right people, right? You need the right circle of people, but you need people, you need community, you need people, you need that. You still need that battle buddy. In the army, there's a phrase called battle buddy, in which you don't go alone. You have someone that's always gonna got your back. And got your six. I got your six. I got your back. And when you get out the military, you still need that person that's gonna have your back, or that circle of people that's your team, right? That's gonna help you and be there for you to help you transition, to help you to to live a quality life. And you have to, but the thing about that is you have to let people in.
Yeah.
People can't force that in you. There's so many veterans who are living on by their own and they're unhealthy and they can't do for themselves. And I hear it from, providers and CNAs and people that go in there like they don't want any help and they just, and it's just, and it's like you're shooting yourself in the foot, by being so independent, by being, you're protecting yourself so much that you don't let the help that you need in, right? And seniors can be that way too, not just veterans. Seniors can be that very. I've worked with seniors in which they don't want to lose their independence. So as a nurse, so it's like, okay, you're not safe to drive, and the doctor's saying don't drive, and they still want to go out there and drive. And you have to you have to be careful when you're on the road, and because you have older people on the road and they can't drive, and and they're blind, peripheral vision is leaving, and they're still trying to drive, and so it's the independence that they're losing that is hard for them, right? It's hard.
Yeah.
That transition is hard, and there's nothing, two ways about that. But that's where assistance is available. That's where we have support services out there. That's why we have Lyft for seniors. We have VIA that's really good with their transportation, paratransportation for seniors. And my client actually takes a VIA every day to go to her senior center. So it's just, there's so much resources out there for the seniors and the veterans in this transition of life. So we're helping them, trying to help them understand, life is going to be, it's different. It's different, but you can
Right.
still enjoy life. You can still live life with dignity. It's just going to look different.
Okay. So, what are your future goals for A Pleasant Space LLC?
Well, a pleasant space, my future goal is definitely to grow, right? Grow and scale. You start out, it's also important to start out small because that's where you learn, you make your mistakes, you get the kinks out, you get to
Trust me, I know what you
you,
mean.
as a business owner, especially coming back to being a black business owner, it's like many times we're the first generation. We don't know what we don't know. We don't have the support. We don't have the finances. We don't have any of that. So it really takes tenacity. It really takes knowing that business. Most businesses don't last more than 3 to 5 to 7 years. So the first those years are just growing years. They're years in which
Right.
you're learning, you're growing, you're finding what, you make mistakes, you find what works and doesn't work. You learn from your mistakes. You get better systems, you get coached, you get the help. Again, with business owners, that's another thing. The same thing alongside of seniors and the veterans is you need a team. A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners are out there by themselves, which is very is deadly. So we have to have that circle, right? We understand that our mindset is different from an employee mindset. So that's a whole transition in itself. But then you also need support. You need people who are going to train you, who's been there, done that, got the T-shirt, that can train you and give you, and give you some direction, advice, or get help, get coaching, get business coaching, get whatever coaching you need. There's training out there for veterans all the time. A lot of different trainings out there for veterans. Texas Veterans Commission has free training out there for VYs. I've been to several, and I'm looking to do more. But you never stop learning. You never stop growing. And you find out what works for you. What works for someone else might not work for you. So you find out what works for you. So you definitely need that community. Of people to help you to grow, and just be knowing that you're just planting a seed, like a plant. It takes time to grow. So a business is not like working for a corporation. With your job is already set, the groundwork is already set. You work for a big company, they already done did that and been there for 50 years. They did all the. But when you
Right.
start your own business, it's like you're just planting the seeds. It's like you're like, oh, business is. Okay, this is what it takes to establish a business and grow it. So I definitely want to, my goals is definitely be able to grow and expand to different parts of the city and to get to improve my business and to be able to hire people, right? Get to the point I to be able to hire qualified, right, aligned people that really care um, for the clients that I'm serving, because that's most important. Their character and their heart, as well as their knowledge, they can be trained on that. But I think character and heart is something that you have to come with. Uh,
Yes.
yeah.
Which brings on to this question. What advice would you give veteran women who are considering entrepreneurship?
Mm. Um, Definitely to work on your um, mindset and self-concept first, okay? Because being a business owner takes a different type of um, attitude and mindset that you may be used to, even in the military, because you learn in the military to take orders. You learn to take orders. And depending on how far you go up the rank, right? Because there's training, leadership training and all that in the military. And which is good. So you learn that, you build that tenacity, you learn how to, as a woman in the military, you learn the importance of leadership and the importance of a team, right? When it comes to, that's transferable when you become a business owner. But also understanding that in this world, a self concept is important, because you're gonna get a lot of resistance as a woman business owner, because you're basically the boss. Okay, you're responsible. You're responsible for the growth of your business, you're responsible for sales, you're responsible for the welfare of your clients, you're responsible for productivity, you're responsible to hire and fire, all of that. So you have to have a different mindset in which, okay, what's best for my clients, what's best for my business. Because as women, we tend to have, and it's good, we have that heart, right? And we have to balance the empathy, and caring with the business side. Okay. So the business side, and I think men tend to, they understand that what dollars, cash, transactions, sales, men get that. Women tend to, we tend to try to shy away from that, shy away from sales. We have this, sometimes we have this uh, perception of sales as being pushy, or we don't want to bother nobody. We don't want to, we don't want to exclude anybody. And I thank God for my coach, business coach, and she's taught me a lot. It's sales, it's service, and everybody. Your business is not meant for everybody. It's just not meant for everybody. No, it is really a niche. There's a niche out there, and people who value your service will pay for it.
Right.
And people pay to play, people pay for quality, people pay for their time, people pay for relief, and there is people out there who will pay for the quality service that you bring. And I think women, and I've learned even with many different types of business training, women tend to lowball ourselves. We lowball our prices, we lowball what we offer, we lowball. Men don't have a problem with that. Men will shoot all the way high, and then compromise to get lower if needed, but they'll shoot all the way up there past what they really really need. And the women, we tend to start low, you know. And so it's, again, the self concept of your work and your time is just as important, it's valuable, and you know what you bring to the table, and you put it out there. Don't lowball yourself. Raise your prices, and those
Yes.
because that's where your value is at, and those who value what you do will pay for it.
Right. You brought that's a good point you just brought up, because I work around with vendors when I do certain events. We have vendors coming in. It was this one particular vendor that came in, and I asked her how much for the product. She's told me the price. I said, that's too cheap. I said, how long does it take for you to do all this? They explained to me the length and all that. So I said, your time is worth something. If I was you, I would tag on another $4 and sell it for that price. That's what I would do, because your product is good, but you're not even making a profit on each one that you sell. So that was just my suggestion to her. You know, 3 weeks later, she came back as a vendor. She raised the price $4 and sold out. You
Wow.
know, just seeing that out there, and I see it. And you're right. Another one, there was a male vendor there. Man, his price was doggone jacked up. I said, why your price is jacked up like that? I said, hey, they always say, shoot for the stars and hit the moon. I said, that's a good concept. So how many have you sold? He said, none. Well, try coming down to the moon level. You know, so being out there, seeing vendors, black vendors out there. We got a thing we call rebuilding Black Wall Street, one vendor at a time, where we have 14 or 20 vendors there. And I see vendors that come through there, and I talk to each one of them, give them my suggestion. I don't tell them what to do. I say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
if I was you, I would do this. This what I would do. And I am surprised that some of them actually listen to me. You know, because you know I've been there, and I see what people will pay for. You
Mm-hmm.
know what they would pay for. Say, you ask yourself, will you buy this product right here, your own product? Yeah, I'll buy 5 or 6 of them. I said, now if it was $4 more, would you buy 5 or 6? Maybe two. Well, go that route. Sometimes
Mm.
when you charge that little of a price, you may make a little bit of money. But when you charge what it's worth, you'd be surprised what you put in your pocket.
Right.
So that
Yeah.
so I want to take this time out now. We got
Mm-hmm.
one more question left, but I want you to take some time and tell everybody um, the questions I didn't ask, or something you want people to know about you. This is your opportune moment right here for you to tell everybody about yourself.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Well, I want to encourage, like you said, you can't tell anyone, but encourage people to start looking into long-term care when they're in their 30s and 40s. Okay? Because what happens is, we don't know if Social Security gonna be around when we retire. But Social Security in itself should never be your only nest egg for retirement. Okay, because we have a lot of people, seniors now, who are only have Social Security, and they're not making it. It's not enough, right? So
Hmm.
definitely looking into your finances and finding a financial advisor that can help you to really think about long term. I mean, like sacrifice now for what you want in the future. Not that you can't ever go on vacations, not that, but you have. It's important because when you get older, by the time you get older, as many times you're not going to have the strength, you're not going to have all that you have now, the vitality that you have now, to be able to handle things. And it's unfortunate when I see a lot of older people who don't have the money, who don't have the finances, who sacrifice. And it's interesting and enough how it's so important that they teach us even with business to pay yourself first, because
Hmm.
when you're raising kids, and as a caregiver, you think about everybody else, you think about your kids, you sacrifice for your kids and all this stuff, and you forget about yourself, right? And which is it's unfortunate as parents because our kids will grow up and our kids will find a way to do what they want to do. Some of them not won't go to college. Some of them are not meant to go to college. They might go to trade school and do whatever else. Become a creator on YouTube and whatever and make their money. But then you're stuck, right, as a parent, not investing in yourself, not investing in your future, and you get older, and now you're expecting somebody to take care of you, okay? And your kids are not going to be these kids these days. They're not your children are not your retirement plan. Okay, you have to.
I like
It's
that.
important, it's important for you to invest in your future so that when you get older, you will be able to have the funds, be able to think about it. We're living longer. Medical attention, we're living longer, but people are outliving their retirement plans. So, invest in yourself, invest in your future. It's not selfish to take care of you. And in fact, you're really doing your children a favor, because when you get older enough, a lot of older people have a hard time with this. They don't want to be a burden to their children, right? So if you
Right.
don't want to be a burden to your children, because with caregiving, that is a financial burden. Many adults are taking care of their family members because they don't have the finances to be able to, to live on the assisted living facility or live on their own. They don't have the finances. So they're taking care of their parents, and the old people are feeling that they're feeling guilt because they know that they know they're being a extra a financial burden on their children. So in order to prevent that for our children, for your future children or your children that you're raising, take care of you. And that way you're gifting your children, actually, so that, and yourself, so that they won't have to worry about you, they won't have to have that burden. And then you don't have to worry about whether they're going to take care of you because you're ready set to take care of yourself. So that's what I have some advice that I want to share with my generation and the ones after me, coming up after me.
Okay. Last question. How can listeners learn more about A Pleasant Space LLC and connect with you?
All right. Well, they can connect with me on Facebook. Amy S. Pleasant on Facebook, right? And and they can I have a number that they can call. My personal number 210-259-6648. I am on Nextdoor, right? A Pleasant Space LLC, and yeah, I'm working on revamping my website in a little bit, but that's how they can reach me.
Okay, okay, that sounds real good. Well, Amy, it was a pleasure for talking to you today. I'm hope to talk to you a little bit more. Matter of fact, we will because I'm restructuring the same thing, my website and the radio station, doing some things different. And I would like to have you come back on again because with the resources out there, and you got some of those resources, this is what we need to pass along to the people out there because San Antonio is called Military City, USA, and
That's right.
it's called that for a reason because a lot of people come down here on their last station and they don't want to go back home. They stay here in San Antonio. They don't want to leave. All right,
That's
you go down San Antonio. That's gonna be your last tour guide, whatever they call it. That's it, and
mm-hmm.
then they don't go back home.
It's a
But
beautiful place, beautiful city.
yeah, and so that's where you come into play at, because when they don't want to come back home, they looking for care and all. They could just go straight to you and find everything that they need.
Wonderful.
So,
Wonderful. Any way I can help.
all right, you take care and thank you for joining us today.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Gordon.
All
Take
right,
care.
okay, bye.
Bye bye.
Recording stopped.
All right, everybody, that was Amy, and she had a lot of things going on. I hope everybody's still listening. But anyway, we're getting on out of here. We appreciate everybody tuning in. And of course, you said that we're doing some things different here and on the radio station. So we still going to do interviews, play music, all that stuff. But as of the morning show and stuff, all that's going to be ramping right back up again very soon. So everybody, thank you again. Peace and chicken grease. Until next